motivational speaker, we have these words of being an inclusion specialist, a disability rights activist. But if I had to ask you, saying who is Virali Modi, I mean, how would you describe yourself?
I am someone who is jolly, fun-loving, good vibes all around, just a down-to-earth person.
All right, okay, fine. And oh, there was no joke on down to earth. I hope that.
No, there was no joke about that, I promise.
Okay. Oh, you don't know. She's actually got a wild sense of humor. Could you tell us a joke about that on that front?
Okay, so I have a question for all of you.
Question for all of you.
Guys, question for all of you. What do you call a mermaid on a wheelchair?
What do you call a mermaid on a wheelchair?
Any wild guesses?
Mermaid on the go.
That was a good one, but no. Any other guesses? No. A mermaid on a wheelchair is called a sushi roll.
Oh.
You guys can laugh, it's okay.
Okay, Virali, we're gonna move from there. Okay. So, so what I wanted to know, our first really important question here is that when we read about you, and I've known you for a while, and we listen to what you do and how you speak about in your Insta stories, all of that. One of the stories which really captivated me is about your whole journey, per se. And I know that at the age of 14, you were literally on deathbed. And many years later, you were able to fulfill your dream of becoming India's first wheelchair model. So could you tell us about your journey from here to here?
Well, I think a little bit of context is really important here. I was born in Mumbai, but I was raised in the US. I've lived in the US for 17 years, shifted back to Mumbai in 2008. But my journey starts in the US because, again, like you said, at the age of 14, I came to Mumbai to visit my family members. And after coming back, I started getting the symptoms of malaria, like fever, feeling cold, feeling hot, headaches, all of that. I went to my pediatrician and my pediatrician said that it's a seasonal fever, just take a paracetamol and everything will be okay. Unfortunately, nothing was okay. The fever would just skyrocket to 102, 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Ultimately, we had to go to a bigger hospital because I lost the ability to walk properly. I started limping just because of the fever was it was left untreated. So after going to the hospital, I started having seizures. So I guess in Hindi they call it feet. So I started having seizures and the doctors wanted to do a lumbar puncture where they take a needle, insert it into the spinal cord to check the CSF levels and to see if there are any neurological ailments. They did the lumbar puncture and as soon as it was over, I turned on my back and I had another seizure. I vomited. Half of the vomit went into my lungs, causing respiratory arrest. And due to that, I went into cardiac arrest for 7 minutes. So I was left lying on the testing table without breathing, without a working heart for 7 minutes. I was declared dead. They got my heart back, but they couldn't get my breathing back. So I had to go into the ICU. I was put on a ventilator. And the next day, I went into a coma. I was in a coma for 23 days. And during that time, I was declared dead 2 more times. So 3 times in total. And the doctors had no idea what was wrong with me, what was going on with me. The treatments weren't working, the medications weren't working. So the doctors had given up hope. They wanted to pull the plug on my ventilator. And on the 21st of September, they had a meeting with my parents and they basically said that Virali is not going to survive this. So we want to pull the plug on her ventilator. And my mom fought for me. She fought for me and finally got permission from the doctors to allow her to celebrate my 15th birthday, which is coming up on the 29th of September. So after that, the 29th rolled around and My mom called all my family members, some 80 people in my hospital room. I was lying there and they had put a birthday cake on my stomach. And my dad, everyone is singing happy birthday. My dad takes my hand and as soon as I cut the cake, I open my eyes and I'm staring at the ceiling and the doctors just couldn't believe it because A, I came out of the coma on my birthday and B, I came out of the coma on the exact time that I was born, at the exact time, 3 or 5 p.m. So everyone was so astonished because I was not supposed to survive. Unfortunately, I went back into a coma after 40 minutes. The doctors rechecked me, they did an evaluation, and they said that I'm going to be totally okay. I mean, if I've come out of the coma once, I'll come out of it again. Then on the 5th of October, they did a tracheotomy. So they took the breathing tube out of the mouth and they put it through my throat. And I came out of the coma indefinitely. But unfortunately, I was paralyzed from the neck down. So I couldn't move my hands, I couldn't do anything. And I had no idea that, all of this happened to me. No doubt, I mean, I worked really hard and, I'm here right now. But yeah, like you said, I always wanted to be a model. I always wanted to go into acting. And after, becoming disabled, I never thought that I would be able to do this. But then in 2014, I had the opportunity to participate in the Miss Wheelchair India pageant, where I won second place. And I went out on auditions and everything. But unfortunately, I was always rejected because of my inability to walk. But then in 2017, I had the wonderful opportunity to work alongside Salman Khan, and I modeled for Being Human. And just last year, I worked with Shah Rukh Khan, and I was in an ad for Hyundai. So yeah.
So the moment when you realized that you had a dream of being a model, but you couldn't be, I mean, what changed? Was there a switch which became on and your perspective changed?
Yeah, well, for me, it was always like my inability to walk or, my disability does not define me. So why should I let it define me? Why should I let other people have that perspective of me? I want to achieve something. I want to do something. So I'm going to go out and do it. And I don't care if there are steps in my way. I am going to achieve it. And I think that was the switch. Especially after winning the Miss Wheelchair India pageant, I think that was the switch for me. If I can do this, if I can come out and talk to people and be on stage for the first time and actually win second place, then yeah, I can achieve and do anything. I overcame my fear that day. And yeah, this is where I am now.
Thank you, that's so inspiring. Thank you so much. Virali, I also want you to bring us this story about a very, very important thing which happened in your life later on. I'm talking about 2008, and something happened to you which led you to campaign, on social media, which is called My Train 2, MYTIAN 2, which completely changed the way India looked at disability, especially in terms of trains and railways. Would you want to tell us what happened there?
So, like I mentioned earlier, I shifted to India in 2008. I only came to India initially because of other forms of medical treatment. So, when I came here, I had to go to Delhi via train. And that's when I realized how inaccessible our country is for people with disabilities. So when I got to the train station, I came like right near my compartment and I saw that there were stairs to get inside. There was no ramp, there was no lift, there was nothing. My mom actually called 2 porters over and instructed them on how to carry me and situate me on my berth. These men were probably the age of my father at that time, in their 40s, maybe early 50s. One guy actually came and he lifted me, putting his arms underneath my shoulders and the other from underneath my legs. Now, as soon as I got into the compartment, the man that was holding me from my upper body, he wrapped his arms around my chest and he started molesting me. And he started groping me in public, and no one said anything. I mean, there were people in the compartment watching me, and no one said anything. No one raised their voice. There was pin drop silence. So I never said anything. And I never told my mom because I never wanted her to think that it's because of her that this happened to me. I didn't want that guilt. And I never filed a complaint because who would believe me? No one would believe me at that point. Unfortunately, this happened in 2008, 2011 and 2013. And from that point on, I have just stopped traveling and trade. But I think the changing part of that was 2017, after the Rights for Persons with Disability Bill was passed. That's when the Railway Minister, Mr. Suresh Prabhuji at that point in time, he spoke about a new train that was launched called the Tejas Express. And that train had facilities for those with visual impairment and hearing impairment. But there were no facilities for those with locomotor disabilities. And I thought that was very unfair. You can't just cater to one disability and not the other. So I wrote an open letter, it went viral, I spoke about what happened to me. But I didn't get a response back from the government or from the ministries. Filed a complaint officially as well, nothing happened, unsurprisingly. But that's when I decided to start my own petition and my own campaign called #MyTrain2. And with that, it went viral first of all, over 6 lakh signatures on it. And I got the attention of a railway official from Kerala. We communicated and we made 9 stations all across India totally wheelchair accessible without any renovations, just by implementing portable ramps and smaller aisle-sized wheelchairs. And we sensitized the whole railway staff through local NGOs on soft skill training.
And how did that feel, sir, considering that it started off by maybe a Twitter tweet or that you sent, and eventually it became practical social impact which has happened. How did that feel?
It felt unreal, to be really honest with you, because I never wanted someone to go through what I went through. And this campaign was just about bringing change, it wasn't about anything else. So when it was actually implemented, that's when I was like, things can change. You need to be the change that you want to see. You can't expect change if you're just blindsided or if you're just, neglecting it. You can't. You have to be the torchbearer for it. So.
And Virali, how do you see your whole journey, especially now, this year, for example, we're talking about inspire inclusion. And you being a woman and being a person of disability and going through the most difficult odds and then conquering them. What do you feel about that? I mean, about these words called inspiring people. Do they mean anything to you?
Honestly, I have always believed that everyone can be inspiring. Every single person can be inspiring. It's not just about these stories that are coming out. It's about what you believe in and your perspective. I think everyone is inspiring. Everyone has their own stories, right? And we all deserve to be treated in a way where we all belong. So I think change starts from within, and I think that's how we can all collectively inspire inclusion. So it's all within us.
Tushin, thank you so much. And I'm going to pick up on that, right? Since you said everyone can be inspiring. I think today is a very special fireside chat because there are 2 more superheroes who are going to be joining us. And I would love to hear their stories and then see what we all think about it. Are you ready for that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so give her a big round of applause to Virali. As I said, there are 2 more superheroes and they come from our own organization, and I'm going to be inviting them to come on stage. The first person who's joining us is a senior growth leader at Latentview. She has 17+ years of experience. her story is very inspiring because she spoke to me about how she moved to a new city, worked in a team which was all about men, and how she conquered that and became really inspirational to all of them and made a difference. Please welcome on stage Indumati. Come on, Indumati. Okay, and the other superhero that I'm going to call upon, 20 years of experience, I love his designation, which is Head of Growth APAC. And most importantly, he also loves gaming, if you didn't know, and riding. Please welcome on stage with an exceptional story of allyship, Manikandan. Manikandan, please. Thank you. Please take a seat. And now that we have these superheroes with me, I'm going to pass on the mics to them.